Bank of America now going all in on Bitcoin. The very banks that told you that cryptocurrency is a fraud to run as fast as you can. Bank of America is now allowing their wealth advisors to recommend up to 4% into the portfolio around Bitcoin. So in today's video, we're going to break down how I truly believe that this is methodically planned out. First, they resist it, then they sue it, then they regulate it, then they join it. Draper. When you start to understand that there's a cycle and pattern that happens in humanity over and over and over again, and this is nothing new under the sun, you start to invest differently. You start to buy good companies at fair prices. You sit there and you watch paint dry, and you realize the power of compounding. Because there will be a moment over the next 5 years. I don't know if it's going to be 2 weeks from now, 6 months from now, or 5 years from now, but there'll be a moment for those people who invest in the new infrastructure of the financial system where it's like Apple, Amazon, and Google. So your job is to stay patient. Your job is to stay persistent. Your job is to get out of the get rich quick, build a fundamental portfolio that will survive regulation. But they're giving you all the hints and clues on exactly where we're going with this. So first, we're going to show the Bank of America announcement. We're going to take a look at the new SEC chair, which is such a breath of fresh air. And then I'm going to break down exactly what I am doing. As I shared with you guys, I'm starting to get into American BTC, American Bitcoin. It dropped in half yesterday, and Eric Trump tweeted why that happened. So it makes sense. And we'll dive into that in just a moment. But first, I'm going to show you the announcement from Bank of America. Okay, now I came from the banking system. I left in 2017, and the 2017 narrative was Bitcoin's a fraud. It's used for money laundering. Don't touch it. Don't talk about it. 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. And then going into 2023, all of a sudden, there was a narrative shift. Is that by chance? Is it all of a sudden they just decided and they said, hey, this fixed supply asset that is deflationary, that's opposite of the US dollar, that's collapsing, as we went into full free fall after 2009, that was our crisis stage, 2009 to 2030, which we're going to come out of that in the next 3 years. And you better be on the right side of that quadrant. Okay. Is it all planned out, or is it just like they're, oh, Bitcoin, Satoshi? Think, like, really logically think about this. A pseudonymous person created this thing called Bitcoin. And the biggest banks in the world, Franklin Templeton, Vanguard, Bank of America, JP Morgan, are going to let guys use logic. Take your emotion out of it. Take the FUD out of it. And it's really interesting. This is why you got to make sure that you are very careful around what you believe on the internet. I'm actually going to show a tweet where Eric Trump thanked me in regards to bringing up American Bitcoin and why it went down yesterday. I'm a big investor. And there's people tweeting that I'm paid actor from the Trump family. Think about that really quickly. That's how ridiculous this information is. I can rightfully say, very powerfully say, I've never been paid by a crypto company, ever. We run our own ecosystems and our own companies. Okay. Never been paid to promote a crypto, ever. So that's very powerful. So be careful what you're listening to. Be careful of the FUD narratives. Be careful of the get rich quick. Stick with the facts, figures, numbers, logic. Build a fundamental portfolio. Be able to watch paint dry, and you will have your moment. Okay, so Bank of America greenlights wealth advisors to recommend up to 4% Bitcoin allocation. Do you guys realize how big? I mean, I could just sit on this screen right here and let you digest this for a moment. The news comes just hours after longtime crypto holdout asset managers Vanguard, giant Vanguard, said it would allow its clients to access digital assets through ETFs. Bank of America will allow wealth management advisors to recommend 1 to 4% allocation into crypto assets starting in January. That's bullish, guys. Do you realize the baby boomers? Think about this, okay? I'm going to spend a little bit of time on this. I'm going to bring you back on my screen really quickly, and I'm going to talk to you guys for a minute. And I do want to pull up that tweet. I'm not even going to go to the other news. I'm just going to bring you guys in and talk to you around my logical circuit here. Let me just pull this up, do this live with you guys. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so you have to logically think about this, okay? The largest assets manager in the world, okay, the largest asset manager in the world is number 2 holder in Bitcoin, okay? Logic, just use logic, okay? Number 2 holder in Bitcoin. The very banks that told you that cryptocurrency is a fraud are now allowing their asset managers to invest 1 to 4%. Vanguard, okay, guys, think about Franklin Templeton. These are old banks. Bank of America, JP Morgan's going to allow you by the end of this year to use your IBIT BlackRock ETF as leverage. This is just a logic conversation. Think about that. Okay. What we're heading into, guys, is a new digital system. They weren't ready for it. That's why everything keeps getting delayed. That's why the Ripple case lasted 5 years. That's why the Clarity Act is getting pushed probably till first quarter. It's a systematic transformation of an old archaic banking system. You can't just say, hey, everybody, come on in. Water's warm, right? The wealthy, the 1% will always stay the 1%. Jim Rohn says you give $1 million to every person in society, it'll end up right in the same 1%'s hands. Okay, remember, there's only interest. That's it. You're paying it or you're earning it. So you have to be very methodical and very strategic and very careful on how you navigate the next 3 years. They are about to bring rates down as low as humanly possible. The candidate that may be coming into the Federal Reserve is number one, crypto friendly. Number two is he will bring rates down for Trump as low as humanly possible. I would expect to see rates come back down to 3%. Okay, that's Fed rate and the bank rate to 3% total. Why do they have to do that? Because there's no money in the system. Your dollar is worth less. Okay, so here's what's about to happen is you're going to see your asset managers start to go to their clients because the baby boomers are the wealthiest population in the world. The baby boomers have all this money that's passing down to the new generation. The new generation coming up is going to be all digital, all digital. Okay. Now remember, asset managers get paid 2 ways. Fee income, which they have to be transparent with that. Hey, I charge a fee to manage your money, or assets under management. Okay. I used to run banks. The more assets they have under their umbrella, the more money they get paid. Now, why would they do that? Okay. How do banks make money? Interest income, fee income, and capital markets income. The more assets they can get on their balance sheet, the more they can lend out. So they're giving you 4% and they're going out and making 10%, 15%, 25%. That's how banks work. And that's why they're so deathly afraid of DeFi. So think about this for just a moment. You're a financial advisor and you get paid under assets under management. So the more money you have under your umbrella, and Mrs. Jones is sitting on $5 million. And you're like, wait a minute, we got this Bitcoin thing that grows 50% every single year. So if I could take 4% of Mrs. Jones' portfolio and I can throw it in Bitcoin, I'm going to have more assets under management. It grows the umbrella. Okay. Think about that, guys. This is the very bankers. And it's not their fault because the bank was telling them it's a fraud. You'll be fired if you talk about it. It's not their fault. So don't be surprised if your financial advisor starts reaching out to you. I still talk with financial advisors like, oh, crypto's bullshit. I'm like, I don't know. Franklin Templeton doesn't say that. Vanguard doesn't say that. BlackRock doesn't say that. Bank of America doesn't say that. JP Morgan, their CEO, says that, but he allows his clients to invest in it. He allows you to leverage it very soon here. You have to wake up, guys. Stop parroting information. Television, television, news station, programming you. Everything you're hearing on the news station is to program you to believe a certain narrative. Look who owns the news station, guys. You got to start to think for yourself. You got to think logically. That's how I built my portfolio. And I want to show you guys this actual tweet, and it was pretty neat to see. Let me put this on here. Where did it go? Share this instead. Okay. So what I had posted yesterday, because I've been very open and transparent with you guys when I'm investing. About, I think it was 5 weeks ago, I started, I think 5 or 2 months ago, I started investing in American BTC. Okay. I've been watching the company. Again, I have zero connection to ABTC, American Bitcoin. I have zero connection to Eric Trump, right? I have no inside knowledge or inside. This is why you got to be very careful on the internet. You'll see in comments, paid shill, he's paid. Like, this is, just be careful, guys. People saying they have inside or they have deep information, they're lying to you guys. We're all doing the best we can to do research I'm a bearded dude that runs his own companies and minds my own business. That's what I do. I have my own ecosystems, very open with you guys. I run an insurance company. I run a 3T Warrior Academy. That's a worldwide academy, 14,000 people worldwide, 4,000 active people. I have a Refined Integrity, a men's coaching program. I have a software company called Blockheads and owns a company called Merlin. I have a podcast company. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur, dude. I'm a family man. I love God, and I work really, really hard to build my ecosystems. I have zero connections outside of my ecosystem. I'm a very, very siloed person, guys. I go home, I go out on my boat, I raise my kids, I come to my ecosystem, and I fucking touch grass, man. I'm a very chill guy, man. I'm not deep in, these private meetings and going to dinners and stuff. I'm a very, 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 very siloed, very small circle, and very out of all the frills, guys. I just want to make that very clear. So be very careful with what you're listening to, guys. So I just want to bring that up because I have a lot of people that are getting fudded out because of people saying certain things that is not true. Use discernment. Use your discernment when you're listening to people. Okay. I just want to make that very clear because somebody actually reached out to me like, is it true that you're paid by Eric Trump? I'm like, are you kidding me? Seriously, man. And when I look at the person's portfolio, life, it's chaos, absolute chaos, panic selling, getting fudded in, getting fudded out, responding to it. So like, get in your lane, guys, get focused. I just want to make that very clear. So I don't want you guys to get hurt with FUD. Okay. So check this out. So I posted ABTC is going down big time. I'm picking up more because I like to be honest with you guys. So I'm going to share with you my narrative on this in just a moment. Eric Trump explained why, and this makes sense. He says, thank you, Coach JB. Today our pre-merger private placement shares unlocked. These early investors are freely available to cash in on their profits for the first time, which is why we see volatility. Makes absolute sense. So when you get into investments pre-IPO or pre-launch, right? When you're in profit and it unlocks, of course you're going to sell profits. That's what we're all in this for. And so people in the comments are like, well, that's not fair. That's how investing is done. That you pull profits, right? You get into an early investment, you invest in a company. That's what happens with pre-IPO. You get in a pre-IPO. That's how investing is done, guys. It's nothing unethical or immoral. That's how it's done. You get in pre-IPO and at IPOs, it dumps after the IPO because the pre-people pull their profits. Because aren't you in it to get profits? That's exactly how it works. So our fundamentals are virtually unmatched. And our differentiator is mining BTC at 50% on spot and 56% on gross margin in Q3 and climbing the BTC ranks daily. I'm holding all my ABTC shares. I'm 100% committed to leading the industry. And I am going heavy into ABTC. I want to be very clear. So I did that full narrative. So I want to make sure you know that this is my own personal decisions and this is my portfolio. This is what it's going to look like as we go into 2030. And I love to verbalize this and be open and transparent because you can come back and see how I did, right? I'm either going to have the greatest, transformation in history, which I believe, and I already have goals and targets and, net worth all built out for 2030, just like I did for 2025. Okay. I told people I'd be a multimillionaire by 2025. I did it because I'm convicted. I do Warren Buffett style. I pick what I want to invest in. And I'm convicted. Nobody's going to FUD me in. Nobody's going to FUD me out. When I got convicted on Bitcoin, I don't care what anybody says about it. I have my conviction. So here's how it works. XRP is my number one holding by a long shot, company and personally. Bitcoin is number 2. Okay. WLFI is climbing into number 3. Okay. Let me just explain it's going to look like over the next 5 years and what I'm committed to. Okay, so let me talk about my top 7, then I'm going to tell you my thesis and what I'm focused on. Top 7 are XRP, Bitcoin, Solana, WFI, HBAR, XLM, and VeChain. Okay, what it's going to look like by 2030 for me, and I'm going to stick with this, okay, is XRP, Bitcoin, WLFI will be number 3. Okay, American Bitcoin, which is the stock side, is going to be stacked. Okay, on the crypto side, number 4 will be Solana. That's what it's going to look like. I'm going to hyper focus on XRP, Bitcoin, and WFI. Okay, I'm very convicted on those. That's what I'm going to do. American BTC, I'm stacking. And when it went cut in half yesterday, I picked up quite a bit. I even posted how much I put on there. I don't know what you consider quite a bit, but I've been stacking it every single week. And then I did a little bit bigger buy yesterday. Okay. So by 2030, it's going to be XRP, Bitcoin, WFI, and American BTC. Here's my thought process. XRP is the payment rails that is changing the financial system. Bitcoin is a new store of value like gold. It is the most scarce asset in the world. WFI is a speculative investment. It's my most speculative on the future monetary system, which is decentralized finance. Okay. And I'm a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I study Steve Witkoff. I study the Trump, how they do business, and especially Eric. I love Eric's moves, man. Eric's a very, very, very precise, very succinct, really, really good at running businesses. Okay. I think he's probably one of the best in the ecosystem, to be honest with you. And so I follow his moves. I watch what he does. He runs WFI and he runs American Bitcoin. So that's Warren Buffett style investing. I trust what Eric Trump is doing. I like his business style. I like his tact. I like his stoicism. I like the way he invests. I like the moves that he's making. So I'm betting on that horse. Okay. So WFI is a DeFi platform. American Bitcoin is on the stock side. ABTC, A as in apple, B as in boy. Sorry, I mumble. T as in Tom, C as in cat. That's the picks and shovels. So I feel like if I own the picks and shovels and they have a treasury connected to that, I own the Bitcoin, which is the gold. So they're mining the gold, and then I own the gold. Okay. I own the XRP, the rails, and I have WFI, the new future decentralized financial system. That's what I'm doing. I'm sticking with it, and I'm going to stack those. Okay. I have other cryptocurrencies. You guys, if you're, I break that down in my academy and share everything. But, and then for me, I keep my debt really low on the personal side. All my debt is through my businesses. My cars are through my businesses. I have very low debt personal side, and I'm heavy cash flow. I just keep trying to create more cash flow. When I create more cash flow, I buy more assets. When my assets appreciate, I don't rubberneck and watch it go up and down. I pull profits. I pull my profits. I put it into cash value life insurance. I use cash value life insurance as a bank. Then I leverage when everybody's panicking and running from the markets. We leverage at 5%, low hurdle rate, and we buy your fear. That's how it works. I didn't make the markets. I just learned from Warren Buffett, learned from Ray Dalio, that's it, guys. That's it. So if you can understand how to reverse your mindset, and greed is green, pull profits, red is good. Okay. Red is good. Greed is bad. That's it. Okay. Buy companies in your circle of competence that you understand, and don't go outside of that circle of competence. You see how deeply I understand and convicted on these, and I'm boldly stating them. That's how winning is done. You just have to have one winner. I've already had a big winner with XRP. It went up 800% since I've been holding in 2020. That was a life-changing moment. Okay. When the SEC sued Ripple, I stuck with it. And that alone changed my family's life. And now I'm going to stick with this narrative, and I'm willing to watch paint dry. But along the way, I'm not sitting on my ass and sitting on my hands. I'm building businesses that create cash flow, that make money 24 hours a day. I have 6 different companies, 3 are in profit. I take my profits, I reinvest, and I build ecosystems for my family. I make sure my family is insured and protected. I make sure we have a trust, make sure everything is good to go. And I honor God in everything I do. Keep it simple, guys. Don't get too caught up in this bullshit. And the reason why I went into that narrative around and talking about the Eric Trump and people, the paid actors and stuff like that, it's ridiculous, man. It's like, it just shows you how unfocused these people are. And I wanted to say that because when that person called me and asked me that, I was like, are you really? And then I stepped back and I looked at their life, and it's chaotic. They're always losing in investments. They're always panic selling. I'm like, that's what you're focused on, man. You can see a man's internal discipline by his life, by how his wife is feeling, by how his family is acting, what his investments look like, what his debit card transactions look like, and what his social media browser looks like. So let's get our shit together. Let's get focused. God, family, protection of your ecosystem at all costs. Stay out of other men's business. You're too busy working on yours. I love you guys. Hope that information reaches your heart well. Remember, the Freedom Conference is live. We have one VIP ticket left. And then we have, we're running out of general admission tickets. So if you truly want to come to the Freedom Conference and hang out with me live, February 6th and 7th here in Mesa, Arizona. So the general admission event is on the 7th. It is here in our facility. You'll get to see our studio. You get to see our conference center. We own our own conference center. It is going to be badass. We're going over Capital DR. It's in the description of this video or my social media platform. I will see you on the inside. And if you're outside the United States, you can join for $199. You can see the whole conference live online. I love you guys. Warriors, let's get your shit together. Let's go.